Okay, welcome back. We are kind of transitioning back from that little bit of spring break that some of us had. I know some of us are working or maybe watching kids, so maybe just change that routine up a little bit last week. I don't know. Anyways, I just wanted to go over a couple highlights over this next module, remind you guys of a couple things. I do see work starting to drift in from previous assignments, so this is a good thing. Make sure, again, if you're behind, you are still submitting work. I know that right now it seems like May is a long way away, but we'll get there pretty quickly. So try and stay on top of your assignments as much as possible. So this week, if I go ahead and click on module 2, I'm going to go ahead and open that up. We are going to be taking pictures of animals, and it's a pretty fun module for me to actually look at in terms of the pictures you guys come up with. Tony Northrup does a great job talking about photographing wildlife in their natural environment. You guys are more than welcome to do that. You can use, birds, go on a walk, see what you can document. You can also use your pets. I know some of you guys also have horses, so there's lots of hopefully opportunities for you to do that. In the actual module itself, you'll see that learning objectives and tasks is listed. So you can go through and look and see what is happening. I can summarize it for you. We do have a quiz and a reading assignment this week for Chapter 8. Talking about animals, there are 3 videos that Tony Northrup has put together, and I think they do a nice job talking about wildlife photography. I've actually put together, and this kind of jumps ahead a little bit. We'll go back to the assignment in just a second. This week, I'm introducing you guys to Adobe Lightroom. And the great thing about Lightroom is I think once you get used to it, it's a little bit easier to use than Photoshop. Now, I can't do every single thing that I can do in Photoshop in Lightroom. Lightroom is mostly an editing photograph software. It doesn't let me manipulate them in the same way. So there are going to be a few projects coming up where we do use a little bit of both, but we don't need to worry about that right now. You can see under Adobe Lightroom Basics, if I click on that, these are 2 basic overview videos I've made for you. If you scroll down, you'll also see that Adobe has really great resources that talk about, I use Lightroom Classic as opposed to the cloud-based version. So if those resources don't help you out, you can also click on these links and they will also kind of guide you. Going back to that module, I know this is always there are 7 ways to do something and I pick the longest one, I think, usually. Clicking on that assignment. Again, this week it's pretty open. You're going to embrace your wild side. You're going to take at least 20 pictures of animals. They can be pets. They can be farm animals. They can be wild animals. Up to you. Some things that I think make a really powerful photograph are definitely trying to get that eye contact with the animal. This is a picture of one of our cats, probably a good 3-4 years ago. He was much smaller than he is now. Anyways, so I've given you a few things to think about. Definitely think about when and where you're taking pictures. The background or the setting, you don't have as much control, right, as like an indoor photo shoot that you can have a person sit and work with. You definitely have to take advantage of your settings, but the kind of light you're going to get at 6 in the morning is going to be very different than the light now you're going to get at like 5 p.m. And of course I say 6, but daylight savings happens, so it's right now going to still be a little bit dark. You can also, think about the poses. Again, I'm going to talk a little bit about continuous shutter. If you haven't used that on your cameras yet, that actually is a really useful tool for this particular week. Patience is really important. I mean, if you have animals that are comfortable with you, like pets, they usually are willing to pose for you. But if you have animals that, you're just out taking a walk and you are trying to get pictures of birds, the more social birds might come up to you, but a lot of wild animals aren't gonna just lose all guardedness around people and come up to you. So you do have to kind of get used to an area like long term if you end up wanting to get into wildlife photography. There is that Flickr group. You're gonna submit it again, same old song and dance there. In terms of the actual pictures you submit, you're only turning in 10. So again, the reason I have you guys take so many is because, especially with animals and motion shots, the more you take, the odds of you getting a better picture are. So I do have, again, another document. If you want to download it in Word, that link is there. So let me just make sure. There is a discussion posting. I'll just quickly sum that up, and then I'll talk about just a couple things on my camera, and you guys will be on your way if you haven't already started.